The first match on this card, that, by the way, is already an hour in till we get to the first match, was the 8-man ladder casino match. They're in Chicago, not Las Vegas. Do they have casinos in Chicago? I know they had illegal gambling in the Capone days. But so this worked in that two guys start, and then at some undetermined point, they've decided that somebody is a suit of cards and comes in. So you've got the hearts and the joker, or the hearts and the spades and the diamond and the club, and then the joker, right? And this was just swell. And as a matter of fact, when Wheeler Useless and Felix start the thing out, and the first thing they do is start trading chops after that previous match. And then they do some dives. And then they grab a ladder. And then Rush comes in. And I smell bullshit. Here he comes, and he's not Mantar level yet. It's a smaller bull head, but he's still got a bull head on. And he undresses in the aisleway from his suit and bull. He's wearing a suit and a bull head. And while one of the opponents in the ring is climbing the ladder to get to the casino chip they're supposed to fucking retrieve, this yahoo's out in the aisleway taking his clothes off. And then finally he got in and they did some outlaw ladder stunts and dives. And then here comes Andre Olio. And he's wearing, what is it? What is the deal? They all come out wearing what looks like Abe Knuckleball Schwartz's fucking Sunday suit with some type of animal head on, and come out, and while the match is going on, instead of getting in and trying to win or stop somebody else from winning, they're in the aisleway taking off their fucking clothes. And then they started building ladder structures. They had a ladder in the ring, but they had a ladder set up crossways inside of it as a teeter-totter, and they had a ladder leaning from the ring apron, bridging to the railing around the ring. And while they were doing all this, all the action came to a halt. And this is where the crowd was at first quiet, puzzled. Like, why are they doing all this? Because it didn't make any sense to have the ladders that would not help them win anything or climb anything. So then, suddenly out of nowhere, Olandre power bombs Yuta on one of the ladders that the announcers had just plainly been talking about. Why have they put those ladders there like that? Well, it was to do a spot that everybody didn't know was coming because the wrestlers had set it up amongst themselves. And then here comes Claudio. Poor guy, a talent like that in this fucking mess, risking injury with the rest of these yahoos. And then Dante Martin, and he tried to do fancy shit with Claudio and Felix, but the ladders were in the way. And then here came Penthouse. So every goofy gymnast in the company plus Claudio was in this match. And he gave Dante Martin a Canadian destroyer on the rampway. And then Felix splashed somebody off the top rope through a table onto the floor. And it was what you would expect it to be from a complete style clash and a clusterfuck. There was never a chance with 8 guys that could work, an 8-man, every man for himself ladder match is not going to be any good. This was a mess. But you said the finish, Brian, and that was suddenly, I think there was 6 of them. I couldn't count. But about 6 guys in black pants, black T-shirts or black sweatshirts, black hoods, black masks, black, just suddenly run into the ring and beat up everybody. And one of them takes the mask off, and it's Stokely Hathaway. And then he gets climbs the ladder and gets the chip. And then Jumpin' Jack Flash plays. And another guy comes out in a mask.
Not Jumping Jack Flash. Sympathy for the Devil.
Or Sympathy for the Devil. Or what? All right, I'm sorry. I was going by memory on it.
Don't
Sympathy for the Devil. Well, whatever. Sympathy for the Devil plays. And another guy comes out in a mask. What was that? The animal that mask was? It was kind of like one of the evil, demonic, fucking goat monsters. I'm not talking about greatest of all time. I'm talking about an actual goat that you would milk. He comes to the ring. Stokely hands him the chip. The bell rings, and he's declared the winner. And he teases unmasking, but then leaves and without unmasking. But at that point, I said, this motherfucker better be John Cena. Because else this was the worst finish I've ever seen. To not only have a match that rotten, but then to finish it up with just the bunch of guys that Stokely Hathaway has given his card to over the last however long, come out dressed in black and just beat everybody up, and he climbs up and gets the thing and hands it over. That's where I think the people really started going, my God, we've got a lot more of this to go, and it might not get better. What'd you think?
You know, I'm not into these kind of matches in general, but I have to think even if you are, they can't mean as much now as they have in the past, because it's usually the same participants, or at least a few of them, and it's the same kind of spots. I don't know what that Claudio spot was where he had him on the ladder and he was lifting the ladders and trying to make some sort of contraption. I have no idea what they were trying to do.
They had something in mind, but it wouldn't come off the ground.
Yeah, and then, you know, I wasn't really into the match, but you were excited to see who would win. The finish plays into a bigger story, so maybe we should pay more attention to the bigger story than what is really a throwaway ladder match. But it did leave things a little flat, but the room didn't, die, didn't boo, but it was more just, okay, what do we do with this? And they still didn't know. And like I said to you, obviously they were trying to do something more serious with Stokely for a while, and I said, let's give it a shot and see where they're going. I still don't know where the hell they're going to go with it, but they really were trying to do something more serious with him. He's no longer with Jade, and he's doing this.
But how is this the goat man should have got the chip, but to have the minions just come in and beat up everybody in the match, have the manager climb up and get it, it's in front of the referee. Of course, they say, well, it's no disqualification. Lazy booking. I wouldn't have a problem if Goat Man, we'll talk more about him later on, had come out and climbed the fucking ladder, got the thing himself. Anyway,